So look, here we go. So we're headed to Reculver, which is this kind of ancient church. And as you may or may not be aware, I am on an Arthurian quest. But I always liked the way it looked. And look at that light on it right now. I mean, that's just worked out quite nicely, hasn't it? I've got to get a roll of film in. 500, and what was it, an 11?
5 and 11, yeah.
You know, I'm cooking with gas now. And you're probably like, Ed, don't you want to do more farting around or whatever? Well, it's a landscape. I think a nice big depth of field's quite nice for a landscape, isn't it? You know, you think about the old pros, the Mitch Epsteins, the Sternfelds, they weren't shooting on like f2.8, were they? No, but that's also, that is the joke of the person who's just bought their first ever prime lens, isn't it? Like everything's wide open, but there's a time and a place. Like what's in the shot? If there's only, you know.
There's nothing in the background,
Now,
right?
I almost like what I'm looking at now, right? But I wouldn't take the photo, but I like, if it wasn't for that white flagpole, I might do it. Now, you know what? You'd be like, but Ed, you're doing an Arthurian quest. Why do you want the car park in? Why are they shitting in cars? But I like that it shows what period it's in. Because in like 20, 30, 50 years time, be like, look at those old cars. Remember when cars were legal before they turned into robots and killed us all? I might just hop over here and try and think about something. You know what? I'm gonna have a punt at that. Good.
I was watching a video of Kodelka shooting.
Yeah.
And it's unbelievable. He's like, the amount of movement and micro movement he's making when he's taking a photo. It's
Yeah.
like this. You know, he's like,
Well, look, what I'm looking at, see that silhouette of that cross? Oh wait, car's coming. Here we go. Is it going to look good? I don't know. I'll wait for it. Is it going to look good? No, I like the one car. I've got to get here for the cross.
Yeah, you've definitely got Kodelka going on.
Yeah. Here's the seagull. Did you see that?
yeah,
I think I got it swooping in.
Oh yeah,
You see what I was getting?
yeah.
So one thing that I always do when I'm photographing is if there's any animals, I try and take on the spirit of that animal. So we're going to become seagulls now.
okay, let's become the
Do you want to drink from the puddle with me? No.
Morning, boys.
Hey guys. So anyway, as I was saying, John Carpenter's In the Mouth of Madness. Basically, it's a really trippy thing that I've always liked because it's very reflexive. Everyone starts reading these books by Sutter Kane, but then it turns out they're kind of like real, and then the guy doesn't think they're real, but then it is real, then he's in a film, then he knows he's in a film. It's very trippy. But anyway, at the end, they get to a church in this horrible cursed village. There's actually a fictional village called Hobbs End, and yet he goes to Hobbs End, which shouldn't be real, but I think it looks a bit like this. So yeah, whatever kind of weird H.P. Lovecraftian demons are going to come spilling out of this vortex, hopefully my Celtic shamanism will defend us. Do you have any kind of arcane knowledge that might come in handy? Well, here we go. Oh, there's some info. Let's do some research.
Here we go.
Reculver Towers and Roman Fort was established around AD 200, occupied for 200 years, then abandoned, later used as an Anglo-Saxon monastery. The monastic church was subsequently adapted, serving as Reculver's parish church until the 19th century. Only its towers were saved as navigational markers. Nice day for it. Oh, I'm going to do that weird thing. I'm going to get on this wall. I'm going to get on that. I might come back a bit because we get a bit of the sea in. See, it looks okay to me because it's so beautiful right now, but it is a massive kind of cliche shot, isn't it?
Yeah, well, but it's beautiful.
It's so beautiful. It's very iconic. Paul, now you're on cam. I mean, that sky looks freaking insane. It's so blue.
I think about how I'm, building this. How long does it take?
Well, that's the cool thing, man. Some cathedrals took generations. Like generations of families worked on the same thing.
You would have started it and not seen it finished.
No way, you were long dead, and maybe your son was dead and his son was dead, but his son was dead. But then his son saw the cathedral. Oh. Oh yeah, I've been out to them, you know. Yeah, I've been out photographing them. I've never been so sick in my life. I puked my guts up. I kept puking when we got back to land. I couldn't stop being sick. Can I spin it round so I can get a bit of a twofer of us?
Press it 3 times.
Ah, wow, look at us.
Here we go.
Face tracked enabled. So that's just on me. What about you? Get Paul. Get Paul. Oh no, don't say get Paul. Get Paul. He doesn't know.
You can draw a box around your face. With your
Can you
thumb.
draw a box around your face? Oh, you take it. Do you get a bit of Paul? No. Oh, you might leave me alone.
There you
That's
go.
pretty special. It was literally ghosting me. Wow, look at us here. AD 200. So this is old.
The fort headquarters. This is the symbolic centre of the fort.
Yeah. There's a dude listening to music over there.
I've been spending a lot of time down this neck of the woods. It's just something beautiful about
Another
it.
magpie, dude. So I had an ulterior motive for inviting you here. It wasn't just for an Arthurian quest. Essentially, I want to recreate the film Highlander. It's pretty cool though, right? I mean, that's pretty weird. Looks a bit like a rugby goal, doesn't it?
It's wicked, isn't it?
I don't know how it's going to look on the camera. You know, old Gary Winogrand said he photographed to see what things look like photographed, right? But I don't know if on its own it's worthy.
I don't know.
I don't know what it adds to it.
Well, can we get into what's a good photo then?
Yeah, I mean, this is better now. Come back here. So now we've got like the shade in the foreground. I think this is a bit better. So if I just come back as far as I can. 3, 2, oh, don't knock me, dude. Hold on, let's take the photo. Got it. But yeah, having that shade in the foreground, you see, it gives a bit of depth to it. But yeah, this has nothing to do with Arthurian legend, obviously. But you know, you came on a day and I thought, you know, let's try and get something. But it could be, because also part of my story is I'm actually writing a story. And imagine like we're doing a recce for a film that doesn't exist. It's still today as well, isn't it?
It's really still.
Quite mysterious. And look at the sun now coming around the back of the tower. The arcane magical tower. Now, I looked this up online, because again, we're back to the research thing. Loads of photographers get down there, I think either early in the morning or at sunset. There's a little waterfall thing that happens. They get their tripod in the water and they do a nice long exposure to get that nice water all like metallic looking and whatever. Anyway, but yeah, it's a shot. But obviously that's not what I'm here for. But yeah, that would be what you would do. That's what we should do. I don't know if we should head down there just to see what it looks like. But my thoughts are, you know, how do you feel about contre-jour? How do you feel about shooting into the light? Because like that would silhouette, but normally the shot that people like is where you get here, the sun setting through that circle there. I've seen photos of that. Also seen a lot of drone images of this, and I've got to say, I'm a little bit jealous. I do like taking high angle photos, and damn, drones are pretty cool. But yeah, that's something you can do, but not if your arms aren't very long. So the one thing with landscapes that's sort of very different from my mode of working is that it's not like you've got a person, you can move them. You've got to end up like doing something else, so you've got to wait for the light to move around. You know, it's very important tactically choosing to photograph at a certain point. Otherwise, yeah, you can't say to the building, hey building, can you move this way, can you move that way? It has to be like just there.
How the light transform with it, really.
Yeah, because like this looks good to our eyes, but to get that exposure correctly,
Yeah,
it's going to be quite tricky,
Yeah.
right? I don't know. Could just be a big shadowed block, but maybe that would be cool. But I kind of like it lit by the golden sun
Yeah,
from the
me
front.
too.
I know that's like the obvious thing, but sometimes the obvious thing is the right thing. You don't need to overcook it.
Well, that's it. Maybe simplicity and straightforwardness is sometimes the answer, right?
Yeah. I don't know.
No.
It's something that I said before about when you can see that photographers are like trying too hard. You look at their photos and you think they're really trying to work that angle, but sometimes the thing that's there, it's not the right angle to begin with, you know? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think an amateur might look at some photos and think, oh, this is great, but another photographer will be like, oh, look, they're doing that trick because there's nothing to shoot. It's like, it's a trick. And I think there's a certain point when you evolve beyond tricks.
What's an interesting person to you then? Like, what would make you stop a person? Is it something they're wearing, the way they
Well,
look?
the first time I ever did a street photograph was they stopped me.
Did they?
Yeah. And that's how this all began.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I had a camera. I was on holiday with my family in Galveston, Texas. It was my first ever medium format of Bronica ETRSI, and this guy came up to me, and his name was Butler. And it's weird. I often forget the people I shoot. I never forgot his name. And it turns out he was a Vietnam War veteran. And he just started chatting to me. And he said, you should take my picture. And I took one picture of him stood this way, just where he said to do it, right? Exactly where he said to do it. And it's a bit like this, like, no, actually, yeah, it was by a post. So look, if we go over to this post, this represents it quite well. So he was standing right here, and if I recall, the post was on his left, and he was stood this way lit. So light was falling across his face, falling into shade. And I took one photo, and this really tripped me out. And thinking back on it now, yeah, he orchestrated that. Then me being the photographer said, oh, could you stand over here? And I made him stand here in the full light against a white wall, and he squinted and he actually looked kind of pissed off. And when I developed the films, I was like, holy shit, literally the place where he said take my photo was the shot, and the thing that I orchestrated was no good. But yeah, so weird. I have to fish that photo out now, won't I?
I want to see it now, yeah.
Yeah, but it's good. It's a good portrait, man. His expression, it's, you know, I don't want to fall into the whole trope of the, what's it called, the magical Negro trope, which lots of people like putting on kind of like white filmmakers when they have like cast Morgan Freeman doing shit. To me, bizarrely, there was a bit of magic, but it's also like he did it. He made that happen, not me. Pretty cool.
Are you selective?
Huh?
If you see a person and you're like, oh, you just take it and then worry about it afterwards?
It takes a lot for me now I'm older to do it.
Okay.
Because I'm a bit older and a bit more like, oh, f me, I've got to go chat.
Go chat to
I've got to
somebody.
go talk to them. I don't want to upset them. I've got to do it in the right way, and you know. But once I'm rolling, I'm like a machine. Like if I'm out and it's just everything's pumping, I'm oozing positivity and excitement. Should we try going down here?
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, it works quite well. I mean, that's a good view. Oh shit, I didn't realise you had a digital back on it. You
Yeah.
madman. Holy shit, you got all the toys. We should be filming fucking you. Give me that shit. Give me this. So look, here I am, farting around with my bloody Fuji GF670, and you're rocking this digital back on your Hasselblad. Is that focused? Yeah.
Framing in a frame.
So what Hasselblad is this? I didn't even know. This is way out of my remit.
This is the 907 907X 100C.
Yeah. I don't know how to get the focusing on this thing, man.
You just tap on the screen.
Oh yeah, okay. Has it got you? Mate, that looks like wizardry. Oh, this is fun. Oh damn, you're gonna have so many more photos of me that look so much better. than like 3 photos in full sun. You're like rocking and a rolling. So how much that little bad boy set you back?
£7,500.
Jesus Christ.
Did I tell you that I bought a load of Bitcoin really early.
Oh my God, you
like,
madman.
Like I bought about 150, when it first started.
Yeah.
And I lost the wallet, I had it on a hard drive, and I lost the hard drive, couldn't find it for ages and ages. And then I found it. And obviously, like, they were worth a fair bit of money.
Jesus, man.
So I got really lucky. I mean, I'm not a Bitcoin, I haven't bought crypto in years. I was literally, my friend said, you should buy this, you're going to make some money on it.
Yeah.
Hold on to them, don't sell them, and I did. And
there, the rest is history. Well,
No,
I bought shares in Netflix 2 years ago, and that's why I've got a bit of money to buy a camera for this doc. But then here you are, and you were going to do it anyway, so we're okay.
It's beautiful. The light is amazing.
It is, isn't it? The
just
gradient is pretty lush. For those in Wales, lush. You know lush.
Lush.
These other people
Cowan
watching.
Lush.
That's it. Oh, it's out of focus. Where is it? There we go. Look at that chisel. Here we are.
Do you reckon I can have a wee?
You can.
That's beautiful, yeah.
That's a nice shot for a portrait though, right? I've got 4 shots left. I'm going to keep my powder dry though, just in case we see something.
Holding back, I love it.
But there's a lovely stillness, you know?
Just a chance to reflect, right?
Yeah.
It's
weird, this is sort of counterintuitive, because generally I put myself where there's crazy shit, which is why this whole Ethereum quest is strange for me. I'm not normally like a calm landscape guy, I'm the guy in the thick of it with like loads of emotion and madness.
I was thinking that the differences between taking a really great landscape photo versus taking a really great portrait photo, and the different skills. You know, like I was saying to Dan when we were in Sheppey, I think I was looking at, Mizrach's photos of Border Cantos.
Yeah.
And again, those photos, it's almost like, because of the border walls and the possessions that people have lost, but there's almost like a spiritual feeling to those photos. When I look at them, I feel, and there's not many landscape photographers that, for me, like really transport me to the place and how the photographer's feeling when they...
It's really hard to do, but you should get our shadows having a chat.
Well, this is what I was saying again, I was having a conversation with Dan, and I've done both with and without a tripod, and I think there's something about, and maybe it's just that process of slowing down, which is a cliche, I know, but it does something happen when you have to, you know, put the legs, level it, you know, move it into a position that makes it work.
Yeah.
And then try and find something that isn't like a picture postcard, something that's...
Yeah, can I just do that? Is that going to be weird if I just do that?
It's a great photo.
Oh, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Ah, I like that. Yeah, I like the colour of these rocks, Ed. I like the...
Should we try and scarper up here if it's possible? I'm not sure about all this like driftwood here. This is pretty nuts. Look at this. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not quite sure if I'm a spring chicken enough to try and climbing up here. What do you reckon? Do you want to try and give it a go?
Yeah, we can do it.
You reckon?
Come on, bud. 44 and capable.
Well, I'm in boots that I've got no grip on.
Okay.
I'm a bit...
Photographer Paul and Ed,
frail.
break leg. Oh my God, you're right.
It is a bit cheap freaky.
Jesus. How did you even do that?
You're still filming?
Yeah.
Good effort. Yeah, look, we did it.
Ta-da!
One day, Paul, all this will be yours. You know, to me, oh, the sun's going behind a cloud. This view reminds me of growing up in Sandgate when I was a kid. See that seagull just landed on the bell, that's fun. But it's just like, you know, that central thing. There's something nice to it, even though the light's going.
It's got a balance, hasn't it?
Yeah, but the seagull's liking it. I think that's a shot for you. Go get that. You get that one.
Thanks, Ed.
Get that one. Well, it's for my questing. It's not really on quest.
So does this go all the way to Margate? Could you walk the whole length of it?
Yeah, you could.
A dog in the water.
Yeah, 2 dogs. Like us.
Two
old dogs.
2 old dogs.
In the water. Look at this. Look at this. Look.
It's just unbelievable, isn't it?
This is where we need to pull swords from stones. We need to make some kind of stone circle ourselves now.
Let's do some chanting.
Okay, so I've got a rock, and over there I've placed a bunch of bottles, right? I'm going to think of the killer of Laura Palmer. That was my Dale Cooper impression from Twin Peaks.
You got a strong throwing arm.
I slowed it down because I realised there's a cliff over there. I didn't want to go over the cliff.
Yeah, right away.
But mate, you know what? Like, even if today it's all gobshite, even if today my film doesn't dare photos of whatever,
just take that in. I mean, absolutely, that's all it's about, right? Just slowing down for a minute, you know, just having a little contemplation. You know, we're on a spinning rock. Let's go in 360,000 miles an hour, you know. Do you think if you could rewind your life and start all over again, you'd choose the same thing?
What, everything?
Like being a photographer, career-wise.
Oh, dude, I had no choice, man. Look, right, check it out. You see loads of photographers, especially if they're not the ones who went to study photography. They studied classics. They went to Oxford or Cambridge or whatever. They never studied photography. They studied history or political science or whatever. Like, they could have been great human rights lawyers. They could have done anything, right? I was the holiday camp photographer. Do you know what I mean? I got crap GCSEs, I got crap A-levels. Like, I had to make this work. I had no fallback plan. There was no plan B. And in my heart, I know that I'm meant to be a photographer. And at certain points, I tried to quit. I tried to get down the job centre when I was like in my late 20s or early 30s, being like, can't do it. And yeah, it's funny, man. It's like one of those self-fulfilling prophecy things. Like, you wish for something so hard, and when it happens, you're like, oh shit, but then it's too late.
What was one piece of advice you'd give to your younger self?
Buy Bitcoin.
Buy Bitcoin.
Yeah. But no, what would I tell myself? Like,
what would it be?
Don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid.
This is it, right? I've seen how some people I love have faced death, and they face death with fear, and they face death with nihilism and lack of belief in anything, and I've seen how sad that is. And I think if I was weaker, it would have made me quite scared about death. But thankfully I'm not. And I go back to that seminal text, Batman Begins. where Wayne Bruce, it's not Wayne Bruce, is it?
Yeah,
Do you remember
Greenway.
what's Bruce Wayne's parents called? Martha and, what's Bruce Wayne's dad called?
It's not Arthur.
Hey man, do you know what Bruce Wayne's dad's called? I know Martha, it's Martha. What's Bruce Wayne's dad?
I could not tell you that.
Shit.
Sorry.
Anyway, it's a scene where they die,
Okay.
and as in Batman Begins, the Nolan version, the dad's dying and he looks to young Bruce Wayne and says, "Don't be afraid." And I feel like that's just the best advice in the world. And I think if I was going to die and I was going to impart some wisdom to my girls, it would be don't be afraid.
Nice, Edward. Really lovely.